Welcome back from lunch, everyone. I hope you enjoyed those extra 6 minutes that were gifted to you at the beginning of that. Jeff, I would like to turn it over to you so that you can set up this afternoon's plan.
Sure. My plan was really have two steps. One is I was going to go over the proposals that we have received thus far and give everybody a status to their resolution. And then when we are done with that, which shouldn't take that long, we and in your mailboxes within moments, you shall be getting the attachment of the version 1.1. We will do a walkthrough of that, and between Beth and I, and maybe Jake, talk about the changes that are made. A couple of them are changes that we have initiated because we went back and looked at it in the process and said, we could probably do better, and so we made a few in there as well. So we'll walk through all the highlighted changes, and then we will be done for the week, unless folks have some additional concerns they want to raise before we adjourn. And we will also provide at the very end a few suggested examples based on submissions that we have received in terms of the proposal formats that we think are good best practices. And I will tease that out even a little bit more. And we will identify Chancellor Duffy's submissions and Mike McComas's submissions as good examples of things that we received in formats. So.
I know that there was already a question of the length of the document. It's not that we added a ton of things in. It's that there was some spacing issues when we took out and then inserted the new 16 and 17. So just know that it's not an excessively longer document than what you received before. It's just replacing those sections caused some spacing issues.
Okay, before we get started, I'd be remiss if I did not acknowledge Rebecca on behalf of programmatic accrediting agencies back at the table. And for the duration of this afternoon, we're going to have Luciano, alternate for public institutions of higher education, at the table. Jeff, the floor is yours.
Okay. So going back to the 14th, we had some suggestions from Jennifer on 602.3. We accepted those, and I believe they have incorporated in.
I believe it's 15A3.
Let us just resolve that.
Oh, no. I'm sorry. She had two. Yes, 602.3.
602.3 in additional language after a line of commerce. The second one from Jennifer, 602.15, the language on training. Excuse me, just for a sec. Sorry. Sorry. Monty had two proposals. One with program length, which we incorporated in 602.17 C1. And the second proposal was the one about prior learning. And as we noted in the earlier discussion, thank you. We are still trying to find a home for that one.
Jeff, quick procedural question for you. Do you want to take comments and questions throughout this, or would you like me to hold those till a specific juncture?
If it's about somebody's comment and if they have an issue with how we incorporated it,
Jennifer, you have the floor.
Yeah, I also though just wanted to point out, I was going to ask a similar process question because we're then going to go through the new version, which has, so might get a little repetitive or something. But anyway, on the 6023 language you took, which I appreciate, the is organized to promote lines, commerce, business, industry, and profession. But there is a cross-reference like later on at the very end of that same definition, it mentions the line of commerce again. And so, and also I had suggested change the term labor force to be broader. So just, there's a so I think there's just a little bit of a consistency issue because it says lines of commerce in one place, but then you brought,
Yeah, give me a second to get to the specific language.
okay. And I'm okay not having dialogue on it now. It's just I wanted to point it out so that you can flag it later.
Yeah, so what was your specific concern again? Sorry.
That's right. At the top of, so it's in, 602, the definition of related, associated, or affiliated trade association. Under 2, you did incorporate, which I appreciate, the line of commerce, business, industry, or profession. But then at the bottom of that same section, well, it's now it's Romanet 4.
Oh, you're saying because it doesn't incorporate
Just-
business, industry, or profession? Yeah, we can flag that. I think we were fine with
Yeah.
making that insertion there. I think we only thought, I know when we looked at this, we only looked at that one specific subsection,
Yeah,
but I think it probably works in the other one. I would want to double check.
yeah, I think it
but-
does. I
yeah.
mean, you can obviously
Okay.
decide for yourself. I also had proposed a change to the word labor force. I can't remember if I was expanding it or what I was doing to it, but that wasn't taken. But I mean,
Yep.
whatever.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay, next one came in on the 15th from Jeffrey Botimer. There was a suggestion to put some text in either 602.16 or 602.23. Actually, when we looked at the language, we believe that it's probably better in 602.24, and so we're currently working language to try to get that into 602.24.
Jeff, if we could pause on that one for just a moment. We have a comment from Michael.
Yeah, Mike.
Where are we exactly again? I'm sorry.
So we're not walking it. I'm just going through the proposals that people had submitted and giving them a status report on
All right.
the resolutions. Also on April 15th, we had a proposal from Magnus on 602.12. There were some changes there that were proposed to push up the dates with regard to the recognition of new accreditors and a number of suggestions around there, and we did not accept that proposal.
Jeff, if we might pause there, Jeffrey has a comment on his. Jeffrey, please.
I think I'm kind of like where Michael is at. It's like where are we going and so forth. I think maybe just like a 2-3 sentence summary of what maybe like Manga submitted or I submitted or whomever submitted, just to kind of let everyone know the topic might be helpful or because I'm trying to find it in my inbox and that kind of fun stuff.
I'm sorry. Okay.
No, that's okay.
Jeffrey, so for yours, it was a proposed language update on change of institutional accreditors when accredited. The rationale was that the proposal was intended to facilitate smoother transitions for institutions seeking to change accrediting agencies while maintaining continuity of oversight and institutional eligibility.
Does anyone have a comment on that particular one? Jennifer?
I do, because I know I support that I don't have it in front of me, but I remember Jeffrey and I talked about it. I support the language, but then you said that you're thinking that the home is 602.24.
Yes, ma'am.
But and I don't know how this works really, because we don't see it very often in the right now in the specialized or programmatic world, but in a world where we were to have the ability to move back and forth. I would love for that, if I remember correctly from Jeffrey's proposal, it's something that helps with the process to sort of make it more efficient. And so you said that 60224 only applies to institutional accreditors. And so I'm just wondering whether that might not be the right home.
Well, yeah, his proposal was only about the change of institutional accreditation, and that's where we focused it.
Okay, so then that sounds like something I can, so just to be clear, these are things that you're going through right now, we're going to see in the version, the one that you just sent around.
So
We're not going to see it.
when I say we're working on it, you will not see that one.
Okay, so I'm
In
flexible.
some instances, I will say we have incorporated in, like in the example of yours,
Got it.
and then you'll see those changes as highlighted.
Okay. Yep.
Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you, Jeff. And Beth, AD, you have the floor.
Just quickly, for those like me who are trying to struggle to keep up with these different proposals where they are, it's probably easier just to go on their website that has the pages that at least you posted most of these proposals. That's probably easier.
Yeah, I'm just going by how I was tracking it. But if people want to see what the proposals were, they can go back and look at those. I just thought I'd give everybody a status report on that. So if you want it for more information, you can refer to our NEGREG website. Yeah, I'm not doing that. Okay, we received another proposal from Magnus on the 15th for 600.11. That is one that we are still looking at. We have not rejected that one. I believe that actually came on behalf of Julie as well. So it was Magnus, Ryan, and Julie. So we're still looking at that one, and that would be something that we'll probably talk about in the next session. Okay, we had on the 16th, Chancellor Duffy, 3 separate proposals, one ensuring safe facilities, another on allowance for increasing the quality of education, and another one on minimum expectations of student performance. The first one on protecting students, we added that. It was proposed in 16 because of the housekeeping that we did between the 2 sections. This is now in 17. And we had just gone over it actually earlier, I believe. It was incorporated in that. And then we have the one with regard to, I'm just going to make sure I get this one right. There was there was some language dealing with fiscal and administrative capability. And it was specific to teach out. We're looking at that in the teach out provisions in 60224. So it's still active, but we didn't take it in the suggested area. The next one on the allowance for increasing the quality of education. We're supportive of it. We have not addressed a place or we haven't incorporated it into the text yet. And the same thing with the suggestion on 601.14 B13. We are looking at that one and are trying to find a place to incorporate that as well. Oh, sorry, one more. The last one with regard to the suggestions on 602.16A1 Romanet 1. We're still considering that in the redo work on 602.17, which we weren't able to get to last night. Okay, the next one, we received a proposal on April 16th from Mark Becker with regard to substantive change, 602.22. We are currently discussing that with our colleagues in the Office of Federal Student Aid. And we plan to address that in the version that we send you on May 11th.
Quick question, please, Mike Shires.
I was just going to say, we may have some suggestions on that section.
Okay, yeah, please get them in by the deadline for the next round. Thank you. The next one was from Mike McComas on the 16th with regard to arbitration policies. Those suggestions were accepted. And those were in, those are going to be in 602.20. The next one, also on the 16th from David Eubanks, proposals in 602.16A1, Romanet 1 on student achievement. And I believe we tried to, yeah, those were incorporated in the text that we just reviewed. Next set also received on the 16th from AD, proposal to 602.23H. We accepted that, and that should be in the text that you will be that you just received. And that's the status of the ones that we have received so far. And as I said, keep them coming in, and we'll, as we go into the next round, have a similar procedure where we say what we took and what we didn't.
Thank you, Jeff. Any comments, questions from the committee before we move on, based on what you've just heard?
Okay, Nicole, if we can get on the screen the language that was just sent out for version 1.1 to the members. And if you can go to the first set of highlighted changes, and then we'll figure out amongst ourselves here who wants to talk to them. What was that? That's yours, right?
This was just the addition of the language that we had pointed out before, that's statutory, that the institution has to designate to the secretary which agencies accreditation that they're using to establish their eligibility.
Thank you, Beth. Michael, please.
Would it be useful here to add also language that an institution cannot regain eligibility by switching amongst its switching its designation? We talked about this on day one. I don't know if that's overkill, but I know there's a provision in 600 or on the eligibility piece that requires a 2-year waiting period. I just, as a matter of, if it gives the department more opportunity to say you can't just switch between once you've lost.
We'll take that back.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Beth. Should we move to the next one?
Can you go back to page 9, Nicole?
It was an error. We had unintentionally crossed it out, and so we didn't intend to cross out the number 4.
Sorry. Okay. Now you can go to the next one, please. I think that's page 14. So this was, if I recall, this was Jennifer's change.
Do you want to speak to that, Jennifer?
Yeah, I mean, we already discussed that at the top of page 15, there was a corresponding potential, but also I did, and I don't have the proposal in front of me, I'm sorry, but I had also in that same submission asked for a change in the term labor force. We don't use the term labor force I mean, I understand the benefits of using the term labor force, but we usually say workforce or employment. Like it's just, this might be the only time I remember seeing the term labor force in higher ed reg. So I just think it should conform to language that we usually use. So just take back.
We could think about that.
Okay, can we go to the next one, please?
Mark has a comment on this as well.
Just very quickly on ruminant 3, just notice does not to engage. I think the word to does not belong there. So it's just at minor editing. Does not to engage.
Thank you for that, Mark. Michael?
Romanet 4 also references the line of commerce, and I don't know if the person that I think of Jennifer, if you think that that same change should apply here in Romanet 4 on defining line of commerce.
That's what we were just talking about.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Well, I thought you were talking about labor force.
No. So a couple of minutes ago, Jake and I had an exchange about the fact that the conforming change in 4 wasn't made. Yeah, so they're gonna look at that.
Thank you. Back to you, Jeff.
Can we go to the next change, please?
Yeah, can you scroll down just a little bit? Thank you. Down. Yeah, so in this place, we struck is incorporated to operate in the relevant jurisdiction and just replaced it with is legally incorporated in a state. I think there was some confusion around that language before. This seemed a little bit clearer. It's a pretty neutral change that means the same thing, but it's easier to follow.
Okay, seeing no questions, we'll go to the next one.
This was Jennifer's suggestion that we took. $41.
Please use your card to indicate if you have a question or comment. Otherwise, we'll move on.
Okay, seeing no cards, can we go to the next section? On the next change, please. And we're
So I don't remember who made this change, but we did add some clarifying language in here because there was some confusion around what cost-effective means. So we added for the purpose of the paragraph, this is what this means. So,
that may have been from the notes, I believe.
Jennifer, please.
Can you just remind me, I'm sorry, but can you remind me what section, like what the overall, because I'm scrolling back up to figure out what this applies to. Do you see what I'm saying? Like it's a little hard to, like, sorry. $15. Okay, the administrative and fiscal responsibilities. Um,
So the stem would be the agency must have the administrative and fiscal capability to carry out its accreditation activities in light of its requested scope of accreditation or recognition. The agency meets this requirement if the agency demonstrates that, and then it goes to C.
Thank you, Jake. Any comments or questions for this piece?
Okay, seeing none, we'll go to the next one. Yeah, it was just a clarifying change. I think initially it said educational or, and we added and that was actually one of my edits overnight.
Jennifer, did you have something on this piece?
well, I think maybe it's just for the benefit of the public when they look at this, this whole piece should be highlighted in a way because you're moving it all to 7, right? Or is this, do you see what I'm saying? Like,
No, because we we did it as a substitute, but I think whoever actually flagged this, I think it was probably an unnecessary flag because we already discussed it before, and
Got it.
it was it was an edit that I had made to text that we had done ourselves, so it doesn't need to be there.
got it.
So in this instance, since we're talking about religious mission, with respect to viewpoints, it doesn't need to be modified there twice. It's agency with a religious mission to be neutral with respect to viewpoints. Just generally doesn't need to be specifically religious viewpoints.
Thank you, Jeff. Jennifer, did you have something on this piece? No worries.
Next one, please.
I believe this came from, I'm not sure exactly who said this, but this was, came from the discussions and the department included this language. I believe what it was, I'm sorry, I'm not remembering it. It was exactly from the so in 60216, we had include language regarding the enforcement of standards related to student achievement. And we said that it would be better served in 60220, which is the enforcement of standards. And so we moved that language here.
Thank you, Beth. Any comments, questions here? Go ahead, Jennifer, please.
So yeah, I think I remember the conversation. I totally think I support moving it to here, I mean, to 20, but, and I'm reading it really quickly, so forgive me, but I'm not sure it lives here, like in this sentence. I'm looking at kind of at Michael for, or any of the accreditors, but it's, because now it's, the agency must follow its written policy for notifying the institution or program of the finding of noncompliance. And I think it used to end there. But now it says to include clearly delineating success and failure in relation to student achievement. But so you're not saying that it only is noncompliance relating to student achievement, right? So I think it's, I think to me, myself, I would do noncompliance, comma, including or something. Because now it looks like
Including but not limited to.
something, because now it looks like you might be saying, like, you're letting them know when there's a student achievement noncompliance, but it is noncompliance in general. So I
Yeah,
think it just needs a tweak.
I see that, Jennifer. Yes, thank you. Okay, can we go to the next one, please?
Yeah, this was to require that there would have, that they would have to take an immediate adverse action to include, but we can change that language to including but not limited to student achievement standards, failing to meet student achievement standards.
Any further questions on that? Seeing none, we'll go to the next one.
This was the language that was proposed by Michael and Heather to arbitration.
Okay, seeing no discussion on that, we'll go to the next one.
This was a change that we made in discussion after the discussion at the table.
Jennifer, please.
I think I want to say thank you.
I think I want to say you're welcome.
I'd like to say next one.
The changes in I are to add the language that we had erroneously removed when we moved this language from 602.18D to here, to this section in 602.20.
Next one.
This was due to discussion at the table and a suggestion from I can't remember whether it was Ryan or Magnus, to include students as part of the relevant constituencies.
Thank you, Beth. I'm going to hear from Michael.
Only if I'm allowed to go back. Just one. Can I go back one?
Sure.
I just want to make sure that I understand on 602.20, the additional language, because we had talked a little bit about when making a determination of noncompliance, the minimum expectation may not be that there would be a process of going from minimum expectation to a determination of noncompliance. So what I'm really wondering is under 602.20A1 that to include clearly delineating success and failure in relation to student achievement. Is that what we're trying to get to there? What is the intent of? I know that we talked about pulling it out. I'm trying to understand, because what I would think would be important here is really to include clearly the process by which an agency will make a determination of noncompliance in relation to student achievement. That to me is the more why you would want to call something out in particular here is that with regard to student achievement, how are you going to make that determination? Because it's not going to be a one-time you fell below whatever this measure is and you're out of compliance.
Which part are you
602.220A
on page?
on page 70.
Okay, you went back more than one. Okay,
Sorry.
we were just having a hard time
Wait.
finding you there.
Well, two of them are the same thing. It's really it's that one, and then when we reference it again on 71, I'm just trying to understand before I'll probably come back with some additional comments. But is that what we're trying to do here?
It's to try to address what we had wanted to is that there is going to be some sort of clear decision made regarding success and failure in relation to student achievement. And so we wanted to make sure that you are following your policy and then also being able to take adverse action based off of that.
Yeah. So would you be open to some additional language around trying to make that more clear about what is the agency's policy for making such a determination here, with particularly if we're going to call out anything for student achievement, it's different than a finding of noncompliance that you didn't include something in your catalog.
Well, I mean, of course that's different. And of course we'll take any proposal that you get in by the time frame given. So
1559 on the.
Thank you, Michael. Siri, did you have something on this one before I scroll forward to the students and Magnus?
Yep, it's just a general comment for this whole 70 to 76-ish. Like, I think we should use the same standard. So I think to me, it's a semicolon, just like it was in the original version, as Jennifer pointed out. And then when we have examples, maybe those are in parentheses. But right now we have two different edits going on, it seems.
we'll definitely take back all formatting things. We want to make it be clear and concise and consistent.
Thank you, Siri. Thank you, Beth. If we could scroll forward to the change that Beth had just spoken to, inspired by Ryan and Magnus. Magnus, I'd be happy to give you the floor.
Yeah, thanks, Kayla. I just wanted to thank the department for including this parenthetical. We felt it was very important, so we greatly appreciate that.
Thank you, Magnus. Michael, did you have something additional? Siri, do you have something additional? Thank you all. Jeff, happy to move to the next one.
Yeah, and just one more change here. This was a housekeeping on my part. When we did the editing, so we did a little bit of, we didn't need to reserve B, and we just, because A can just stand on its own. So that's just a little housekeeping on our part.
Was that the final one? Okay.
Yeah, this was based on discussions as well. It's just clarifying that. I think actually this was AD's suggestion was to change it to unlawful.
Do you have something, AD?
Just the comment that I found when I was reading the executive order. Thanks, Jennifer. The word unlawful appears at least twice. So whenever it says the word discrimination. So we are following the executive order by adding the word unlawful.
There you go. Another support of the executive order. That's great.
This change was made based off of discussion here. It's in 24C Romanet 2, I think. Yeah, C1 Romanet 2, my bad.
Okay, seeing no discussion on that, we move to the next one.
This change was also made in response to discussion at the table to clarify that this would only be required unless for a teach out agreement unless the institution is completing its own teach out.
Okay, seeing no cards on that one, we'll go to the next one. Whoops, I think those are within 30 days above you, Nicole.
Yeah, this was also to put a time limit on the teach out agreement, so it wasn't an open-ended of if they're unable to secure it in 6 months, but actually putting a time limit on that. That then these other things would apply. And then right after that, I think it's right after that, we added the state so this was discussion to make sure that the state was included in the documentation of the teach out.
Thank you, Beth. Mike, please.
I'm just here to praise the department because as it continues on in 104, page 104 may require the institution to provide financial protection. This provides assurances for students in the event that an institution essentially abandons the students that they'll be protected. So I think this is really, really, really important.
Yeah, this was an add on our part. So I think before it talked about the department being able to, it just talked about the department may having some discretion in this area with regard to financial. So we added the notification since there was a notification requirement in the other two that they notify us. And then that would trigger our decision whether or not we needed financial protection or not.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Jeff. Magnus, you have the floor.
Yeah, I'm essentially going to echo what Chancellor Duffy says. I appreciate the department making this change. I feel it's important to protect students. Thank you.
Thank you, Magnus. Jennifer, you have the floor.
Yeah, I also appreciate, I still think actually you could even go a step further to have it be must where there's not already any form of financial protection. But so I know you want to leave discretion.
I think I know we talked about this. I think the discretion is important here because without that, we don't have a rubric for it. The other, places where we require financial protection and we have specific amounts typically, granted, there is discretion to the department to determine what those are. In this case, I don't think we would necessarily know what the appropriate amount would be. It would definitely depend on the institution itself. So I think the discretion there is important. But if you have a proposed framework that you would like to tie it to, feel free to propose
I
it.
was just going to suggest that there might be a way to cross-reference it back to whatever, I forget the name, the section, because I'm buried on 602 now. I don't remember if it's in 668 or wherever it is, but
Yeah, I know what you're talking about in 668 for like a failing composite score.
Exactly.
But I think because we're talking about a teach out situation where an institution is shutting down, it might be a little bit more nuanced than that. And so we may not want to bind ourselves by tying it to a specific number in that way.
Okay, I'm just flagging. And then the other thing I just wanted to say on the teach out language, which I think is, generally speaking, really, I appreciate it, support it. There is another section on institutional teach outs. And again, I know it's outside technically the purview of this, but for consistency's sake, I'm just flagging to make sure that whatever we're changing here, we're not sort of creating an inconsistency. I don't think we are, but I'm sure you probably looked at that, but okay.
Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you, Jake. Jeff?
Okay, seeing no additional cards, can we skip to the next one, please?
Yeah, this was based off of discussion at the table. We understood that the whole point is that if this closed institution is to deal mostly with precipitous closures, we still felt that in order to, that this was if they closed without a teach out plan, that then the including by the working with institutions to secure a teach out agreement, and where a teach out agreement can't be arranged, then working with the institution in the teach out plan to secure. So it is, I'm sorry, I think I might have this might be the opposite. I'm sorry, it should be without a teach out agreement. I'm sorry, I'll have to make that change. It should be without a teach out agreement because we still would expect a teach out plan because the plan would have been at an earlier stage. And then also it has specific requirements such as the students who are enrolled and things along those lines. So I apologize. That was my error. I will make that change.
Thank you, Beth. Magnus, please.
Yeah, I was just going to ask why teach out plan was there and agreement was struck. So I appreciate you working through that and recognizing that. Thank you so much.
Back to you, Jeff.
Okay, next change, please. Oh, this is on transfer of credit. We're clarifying that what we're really focused on here are the transferability of undergraduate credits. I don't know if that helps some of the heartburn. I know there were a number of issues raised, but that was something that we heard at the table, and we thought it was important to clarify that. So for anybody's keeping score on transfer of credit, we want to give ourselves a couple points on that one.
Jennifer, please.
Well, this is certainly not a hill I'm going to die on, but I do want to point out that, and I know some people are really happy with this change, but I do want to point out that with the department's new grad loan limits going into effect and no grad plus going into effect on July 1, that this actually may become a big issue when transferring between grad programs and there's a loss of loan money and you can't get it back. And it's a pretty severe limit that's coming students' way, which I kind of support, but I just want to flag that we're going to be in a brave new world on grad programs and people do transfer, especially in like a doctor, like transfers happen at the grad level too. So I just wanted to flag that there's going to be a bit of a heartburn for students at the grad level.
We're not discounting it. So this is, it's a hard enough battle dealing with you all on the undergraduate. So we're gonna take an iterative approach to this. Let's see how we do on undergraduate. If you want to bring that up later in the process and say you don't really need undergraduate because we've reached this great agreement and consensus on this section, maybe we can take a look at it. But again, to try to keep us moving in the right direction, we're extending a bit of an olive branch here. And I see my friend Magnus sort of thinking about like whether you want. So this is one of those that half a loaf is better than no loaf at all.
Magnus, I'm pleased to give you the floor.
Thank you, Kayla. Yeah, I certainly understand the direction the department is going, and I do think it is a step in the right direction. But I think Jennifer raises a really important point. So, and as a student who's by the time we come back, I will have a bachelor's degree, and I'll be entering a master's program in the fall. So I am thinking about that. So I am not sure where I fall on it, but I am gonna turn my cogs on that while we're at the break.
Okay, appreciate that. Thanks.
Just to give you a little clarity on why we took this cut. At the graduate level, programs are much more specialized and from institution to institution may differ much more greatly, even though they're in the same subject area. And we think it'd be very restrictive on institutions to have to just accept credit from something that may be labeled with similarly, but may be quite different substantively.
Jennifer, can we hear from you?
Jake, that's a compelling point, the presumption piece, which actually the presumption piece is where I actually am struggling. I'm admittedly struggling because of academic freedom. Ironically. So I'm struggling with the presumption piece as being really strong. And so maybe we need just to keep thinking about transfer of credit a little.
Jeff, did you want to speak on that?
Yeah, just quickly. The other concept there is, when we talk about graduate programs, we generally don't talk about general ed requirements within graduate programs.
Good point. And so if we were to rethink whoever's working on transfer credits, I know a whole bunch, it's something that maybe there's it broken out if we ever get there. But I also totally understand that this is the first, and it's a huge, as those of us, I said the other day, have been in the trenches on transfer for literally 20 years at least. This is a very good well, it's not first step, but a very good next step. It's like a leap as opposed to a step. So with much appreciation.
Thank you, Jennifer. Mark, you have the floor.
Yeah, I just want to go on record as commending the department for taking on this hugely important issue. It's a national crisis, the lack of transferability, and look forward to progress here. And I know that I and others will be working between now and close of business on April 27th to provide constructive feedback.
Very good, Mark. Very good. Mike Shires, you have the floor.
I too want to congratulate the department on this. I do also think there's another dimension, which is the distinction between major credit at the undergraduate level and GE credit, and that's probably something that nuances into this conversation. So I look forward to continuing to work on that.
Thank you, Mike. David, you have the floor.
Thank you. I know now's not the time to debate this issue. I just wanted to say you can look forward to some brief literature on this subject.
Thank you, David. And Mark, I'm back to you.
Very quick. Mike's comment actually reminded me one of the other pieces that comes into play here, and it usually hits around that number of credit hours in general education, is almost all institutions limit the number of credits that can be transferred. And so it is, I think, unusual that the credit transfers would be in the major. And I think this is also how graduate education is dramatically different.
Thank you, Mark. Jeff, back to you.
Thanks. And I just wanted to say to David, we would expect nothing less than voluminous literature on this particular issue from you and the National Association of Independent Colleges and Universities.
Try not to disappoint you.
Magnus, you have the floor.
Yeah, I don't know where it fits in the discussion, but also with respect to Mike's point, there are also a certain amount of I don't know how to put it, native or in-house credits that you have to do at a particular college, whether it's a master's or an undergraduate, in order to qualify for graduation at that institution. So again, I'm not sure how it fits into the discussion, but I thought it would be worth mentioning.
Thank you, Magnus. Michael, you have the floor.
Yeah, and just there are a number of non-degree programs that are being designed now to be stackable, and so undergraduate may inadvertently continue to have those credits face challenges. So I'll continue to put some thought into that and try to give you some language with regard to, kind of keeping it combined or contained, but not so much that it doesn't allow for that switch from sub-baccalaureate, sub-associate, non-degree into degree.
Yeah, the one point I'll say there is I just hope people keep the focus on credits, because I know now with Workforce Pell we have the potential for non-credit programs, and it's not our expectation that be necessarily transferable unless there's credits awarded for it.
You have follow-up, Michael?
Yeah, just the presumption piece, you mean, because there are many articulation agreements that exist where you can get a block of credit for a non-degree or non-credit bearing. So many institutions have those kind of agreements, but I think it's the presumption piece that you're talking.
Thank you, Michael. Magnus?
Yeah, Jeff, the point about Workforce Pell is the one that came to mind. Of course, we were both here during the AHEAD negotiations, and remind me if I'm wrong, even if it's a clock hour program, a non-credit program, because of the stackability requirement, those have to be granted academic credit if they choose to continue their education. For example, moving from an 8-week certificate to a semester-long certificate or a year-long certificate. Do I have that wrong?
The programs have to be stacked. The work that you do in a Workforce Pell program have to be stackable to other programs at the institution.
But I think there was a provision in there that if it was a clock hour program, you had to be awarded academic credit, which would essentially be an undergraduate, like 3 credit hours or something along those lines, right? Or no?
Yeah, we talked about equivalency on because I don't want to misstate something on the record. That's something I'll go back and look at that and just make sure. But I don't think we went full stop and said you have to give academic credit. I think we sort of kept the concept that the work had to count towards another credential at the institution had to be stackable. But I don't think we went as far as saying credit. But I said I will double check that.
Okay, thank you, and thank you for Michael for bringing that up too.
Thank you, Magnus. Thank you, Jeff. Michael, okay. We have worked our way through all of the cards.
Okay. Next section. All right.
Same section.
Same section from the discussions. I think we believe it's clarification. I think someone had asked a question at the table, cost to whom, and so we clarified that it's cost to the student. Okay, but if there's no cards, we can go to the next one.
We just made this clarifying change to make sure that it's on the department's website, that this is being updated regular and timely, that it's not just, I mean, we expect the agency to do that themselves, but we're expecting this update to the department on our website. So,
Thank you, Beth. Jennifer?
I wanted to go, there's not highlighted, on page 121, subsection G. I wanted to point out that it's not highlighted, this is the edit. We had a long conversation about this. I think it was yesterday. So I thanked you for H, the change on H, way in another section further earlier. And then this is G, which is somewhat similar in principle. And so you made the change in H, but you didn't make a change here in G, and we don't have to have the discussion all over again, but this is, I would urge the department for consistency purposes to consider making the change.
I think the department sees these actually as two different things. So that's why the change was made in one area and not the other.
Okay, well, I'll just say I continue to find G incredibly problematic.
Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you, Beth. Mark, you have the floor.
The one that was on the board for 123 is just trivial, but the word on should be unstruck.
You're
I
right.
believe.
You are correct.
Yep,
Thank
we'll
you.
make that note.
Okay.
I think next time, Mark, when we're in the late night, if you want to join us, we'll call for takeout and you can sit down and help us.
Jeff, I've edited journals, and in the past, I've paid my dues. Thank you.
You all have raised the importance of peer review throughout the accreditation process. This is the department's equivalent.
Okay, see no cards. Can we go to the next change?
It's
I thought we fixed this. No.
We'll fix it. We're sorry.
So someday we'll figure out how to spell determinate.
We made this change for consistency in that we had changed, we had it be the review of public information. So I was taking that part out and then changing comments later in that to information.
So it's conforming to the changes we made other places. Okay, next one, please.
Jennifer? We'll have Jeff set it up and then I'll go to you.
I'll also.
Or Beth.
Oh, can you go back up? So actually we took out, because this particular section is 60231 and it only deals with initial or renewals of recognition. So we took out the expansion of scope here. But then if you go to 32, we then added this entire language in related to expansion of scope. So realize that the language was not exactly right here.
Thank you, Beth. Mike, you have the floor.
At the risk of getting invited to all-night editing sessions, I think you want to lose the 2 commas that are here.
I have them in my own edits as gone, so I assume that they were gone here. So thank you, though.
Anything additional, Mike? Okay. We're good to move on.
So this is the addition that I talked about, that we then move this language here because it's applicable to the expansion of scope section. So it's the same language. It just says when considering expansion of scope.
Okay, I think we have one more after this one. Yep, 155, please. Yeah, 155, please.
Actually, it's also supposed to have removed D and E. So what we found is that we had other timelines that we had proposed actually in 60231G1 and then 60232B2 that already set limits. I know we had talked about it yesterday. So there, I believe in 60231G1, it says within 120 days, and then 60232B2 is within 90 days. These are timelines that have already been placed on the department staff in order to provide draft staff analyses in those areas. So it was not working together to have then also D and E, not to mention that these actually have been in the wrong section as they're in 60232 as they should have been in 60231. But we had actually addressed this in another place.
Magnus, you have the floor.
So just so I'm following, E should be stricken here as well. Is that right?
It should be.
Okay.
And I apologize for that.
No worries. Thank you.
Thank you, Magnus. Thank you, Beth. Jennifer, you have the floor.
So that's fine. I understand the deletion. I just want to understand. So where is the department landing, like on the timeframes?
So because our timeframes are mapped out, so if you actually, and I don't know what page it is on here, but if we just go to this section here, go up to 32B2, so we're at D. So Nicole, if you can go up to B2.
Oh, I see it.
You'll
Within
see
90
at the
days of-
beginning within 90 days. And so we also have, sorry, B2 right there. So there you go at 2. It says within 90 days of receipt of the compliance report, then we will do the draft staff analysis. If you continue through this, we also have a certain amount of days that an agency has to respond. So 45 days is in 4. And then as Jennifer knows, at the end, we have to provide it to NASIKI at least 30 days in advance. So these time limits already are already setting a timeline for us. And so it didn't make sense to include those other ones as well.
Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you, Beth. Jeff, back to you.
Okay, next one, please. Well, that's it. Okay. All right. Actually, Davey Banks, you have a
Sorry, Bill, was entertaining the idea of doing a caucus, and I don't know if that's something you,
We're still on the clock, so if you want to have a caucus, we can have a caucus.
can I switch?
Can you read aloud the constituency groups that you would like to participate in this caucus?
I need to switch because
Bill needs to do that. Bill, will you come to the main table and read aloud the caucus groups you'd like to?
Thank you. We had a request just for a very brief 15-minute caucus with the following groups, and this is on the follow-up on the separate and independent. So student loan borrowers and groups representing them, legal assistance organizations, consumer advocates and civil rights organizations, public institutions of higher education, private nonprofit institutions of higher education, state officials, including governors, institutional accrediting agencies recognized by the Secretary, programmatic accrediting agencies recognized by the Secretary, and nascent accreditation organizations not currently recognized by the Secretary.
And you need about 15 minutes before we report out?
That's what I've been told.
Okay. Now we're at 2:15, well, almost at 2:15. So, and I'm sorry, Luciano looks like he has a comment as well.
Please.
I'd like to make a suggestion for the department about the 60223. It's a brief.
Okay. And then we'll return to the caucus, please.
Yes. So the 60223 deals with procedures that the agencies have to adopt. I would like to make a suggestion for the department to create more specific, in this language, in this part, especially in C, you mentioned something about complaints. But I'd like to, my proposal or suggestion for you is to create a more detailed process so that information can flow from students, staff, and faculty directly to the agency so that they can have a better source of information. And why I think that this is really useful. When we see information, the administrators in our institution control the flow of information, and they select who are the individuals that the agency interviews and what are the kind of information that gets to the agents. If you can create a separate channel so that this information can flow directly to the agents, it's extremely useful because this could create the possibility of identifying situations where the institution has policies and says that they are complaining, they are in compliance with these policies, but they are not. So if you have a back channel, a hotline or something like it could be emails, of course, but students, staff, and faculty can actually get to the agents independent information that's not controlled by the administrators in the universities, in the higher education institutions. It would be a way for enriching the set of information that agents have. And I would add so you put this procedure that the agents have to have a clear procedure on that for each institution that they supervise, and also require that the institutions publicize the possibility that students, staff, and faculty follow this chain of information directly to the agents. Thank you.
So on that one, Luciano, what I would suggest, that since we're sort of the middle of this process, is you may want to work with Monty and come up with a proposal on where you think that fits, and you may even want to talk with some of the folks who have been vocal about the student complaint processes, like the veterans and the student groups, and can consider a joint proposal. And then that way, if it's submitted prior to the next meeting, everybody will have a chance to see the proposals and can come prepared for the next meeting with their suggestions, because it's a brand new concept, and it sounds like it's fairly extensive. So I think if we can get something in writing on that and get it socialized over the next few weeks, we can have a very good discussion on that and consideration of it. So thank you for bringing that up.
Thank you, Luciano. Thank you, Jeff. We do have this outstanding motion for a caucus, but we have a number of cards going up. So I want to try to quickly get through those. Mike Shires, you have the floor.
Thank you. I just have a quick question. So this was version 1.1. When we're submitting changes, are we using this version or will there be a 1.2?
Now, please structure your changes to this document as opposed to the initial document.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Jeff. Magnus?
Well, I have a question about Mike's question. Because there were a few minor edits, some areas that weren't stricken, harmonizing, et cetera, that need to be corrected, will we be able to get an updated just for clarity?
The answer to that one would be no.
Okay.
Just for version control, we will incorporate the changes we've discussed here into the beginnings of version 2, which are going out. And then obviously if there are changes to those sections, some of that might be moot. But we'll incorporate it into the new base document, but it is what it is there. And just so you know, from a pen and ink change, you can note, the corrections and things like that.
Fair enough. Thank you.
Okay,
And then
thank you.
to Mr. DeCastro's idea, I think students would be interested in looking at some language on that too. Thank you.
Thank you, Magnus. Michael, you have the floor.
Just in response, just to add a little flavor to that and color, if you're going to think about you and Monty putting some language together, there is a Dear Colleague letter that addresses many of the points that you've already laid out for accreditors and their complaint policy. So I would encourage you to take a look at that. It does indicate that an agency may not require that the student or faculty or whomever go through the institution's complaint policy first. There's always a direct line to the accreditor. So I would just encourage you to take a peek at that, and maybe some of the points that you've addressed are already included in there. But any opportunity there is to provide that hotline as you suggested, certainly the accreditation community would be open to looking at that.
Thank you, Michael.
Yeah. And so I would suggest on the caucus, if we can delay that perhaps to the end, because I would like to have one more point. I think we could conclude for the folks who are not in the caucus, unless there are some additional questions. I know some people want to get out. Nicole, can we put up the example just when because I think Dr. DeCastro brought up since you brought up a point about proposals, here's a suggestion in terms of formatting that we thought that Chancellor Duffy's proposals were sort of good. So a description, and these are on our website too. So you don't need to. But that I think sort of this setup where the changes are highlighted, the rationale's there, who's submitting it, helps us process these much more quickly. So that's a good example. If you look at some of Mike's proposals as well, Mike McComas, Mike, like all 4 of them, or 3 of them. We also thought that was a good format too, but just in the interest of time, I would throw that up there as an example that would be helpful to us in terms of processing these.
Thank you, Jeff. Michael, did you have something additional? Luciano, do you have anything additional? Okay. So I believe the suggestion was to have folks caucus and everybody else would be dismissed and we would adjourn for the day formally.
Yes, that would be my suggestion, unless somebody has another topic they want to bring up, and we'll keep going. But I think that was all the business that we had planned before the break.
People are already packing up. Okay, a few reminders. But first, David, you have.
Very briefly, I just wanted to thank you, Kayla, for a great job of facilitating. Thank the staff for really hard and excellent work, and of course the production team for really flawless work. And thanks to all of you for many constructive suggestions. And very robust and informative discussions. I think we've proven that we can have productive conversations and civil conversations with a wide range of views. The department would welcome consensus, and I see some reasons for optimism there. Now, of course, we all have a vote, we all have priorities, but I think we've really operated in a cooperative spirit this week, and I appreciate that. Look forward to working with you over the next month and seeing you in May to kick off the Memorial Day weekend and our summers. So thanks.
Thank you for those remarks, Jeff.
And I would echo David's remarks and also say that we're thankful. We know for a number of you who come in from out of town, this is time away from your family and your real job. So again, we really appreciate the sacrifice that you make coming and helping us out on this. Thank you.
Couple of quick reminders. Proposals due April 27th, close of business. Please leave your comment cards and your name tents around for the department to collect. I will see you next time. Thank you, everyone. The caucus folks should stay in this room. Everyone not participating in this caucus will need to depart.